The primary objective of these students is to prevent future tragedies. They love their fellow students, they love the students coming up behind them, and the goal is to simply prevent future tragedies. It is interesting that our goal is to prevent future tragedies as well, both at an individual level and a societal level. We believe that the Second Amendment is designed, along with the entire Constitution, to help keep people safe, to help prevent future tragedies and atrocities. These atrocities are occurring all around the world right now with people that don't have a Constitution to protect them. And I'm grateful that we do have the rights we have afforded to us or acknowledged by the Constitution. And that's what this movement is all about. So in that common goal, with that common goal of working to keep schools safe, we have decided to see what we can do to work together without violating our constitutional rights, and that is very important. We will not at any point acquiesce or allow our constitutional rights to be deprived, nor will we ever seek or ask to deprive anyone of their constitutional rights. It's a two-way street. We believe that if we protect the Constitution, it will protect us. Anyway, so our goals are aligned with the students of the March for a Life movement, or at least many of them. And we know that there is much common ground that can be found. There's a lot that we can do to help make our schools safe that don't violate our constitutional rights. It's important that if we're going to do something, that we do something that will work. So often it is the case that things are implemented and we're told that if we just add more gun control, that the additional gun control will supposedly solve the problem. But we've seen for generations that has not been the case. So if we're going to do something, let's do something that works. Let's do something that works without violating our constitutional rights. And I'm going to talk about a few of those things right now. And we may talk about some of those things over at the convention center if we have an opportunity to speak. By the way, guys, I don't know the format under which this meeting is going to occur. We're told that it's going to be a panel discussion with an opportunity for Q&A with the option of people in the crowd having an opportunity to speak. And I hope that we're able to do so. We believe that it is not only sensible but necessary to provide an alternative point of view on how to keep our schools safe without violating our constitutional rights. So let's talk about some of those. If I get the opportunity to talk, I'm going to let them know that we would like to see a study performed on what has changed in society. Because machine guns used to be available in our society. You could order them, mail order. It's much more difficult to obtain a firearm now than it used to be. And for decades, machine guns, not just semi-automatic firearms, were available. And the school shootings that we have been seeing, which by the way are decreasing, but these school shootings that have been seen in modern decades were not happening. So it's not the gun that's the new element. There are new elements in society that are causing changes in our society. I think some of those elements are the bullying that is a result of the uncivil discourse that is occurring in this nation. When people have differing points of view, a lot of people want to bully that alternate point of view into suppression. I'm hoping that we can conduct a study on the link between bullying and depression, between depression and suicide, between suicide and murder, and how these are critically important issues that lead to tragedies. There's so much we can do beyond just learning what causes these events. I was saying earlier that if the president were to come into town and go to any one of these schools, we know that within a very short period of time, we could make every one of these schools safe. It's not a matter of whether we can or can't keep our schools safe. It's a matter of whether we will or won't. And I hope that we will choose to take the measures necessary to keep our schools safe without violating constitutional rights. Additional items such as restricting access to schools, making them a hard target. If we limit the access in and out of schools, we can solve a lot of problems right there. Using safe school apps, increasing the level of training on a school and a faculty member. We also believe that allowing teachers to carry firearms and receive training to be able to defend themselves and or the ones they've loved or love. Generally, their students are people they love. Teachers love teaching. We have one in the crowd right now. I'm not sure that she wants to be acknowledged, but if so, she can raise her hand. I'll point her out. She's an amazing person. All right, here she is. Incredible person. Casey is her name. It's ironic that we're talking about these conditions right now because after the Sandy Hook Elementary tragedy that occurred in 2012, Casey decided to start looking into ways to keep herself and her students and faculty and other members in the school safe. It's been an interesting journey for her, and I'd love her to tell her that. I want to get her on video someday where she can tell that story. I think a lot of people will find it incredibly relatable. There's a lot of people out there watching this dialogue between the Utah Gun Exchange community. I'll just say the Second Amendment community. Utah Gun Exchange is a component of that. Utah Shooting Sports Council is a component of that. But it's a community of like-minded individuals who believe in constitutional freedoms. We're here to preserve them. Anyway, there's people out there watching this dialogue right now, and I think a lot of people are wondering, you know, are both groups extreme, or can I work with one of these groups? While at the same time thinking, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in society, and my family is not as safe as I'd like them to be. And they're asking the question, is it sensible for me to become a firearms owner? And if I do, will I then be ostracized from society the way so many of these other groups have? And is it even sensible to belong to or become a part of a group like that? I'm hoping that we can conduct ourselves in such a polite, respectful, rational, yet firm way as it relates to principle, that they will see a cool, calm, collected voice of reason with which they would be willing to join to become a firearms owner. I believe that when people become firearms owners, they suddenly realize how important our individual rights are. It's interesting that when you pay a lot of money for a gun and you realize that someone may want to take that away from you without your permission, you start paying attention to the people who would vote for things like that. People who own guns become less apolitical, they become more politically involved, and that can help change the course of this nation. Firearms are just a small part of what Utah Gun Exchange is involved with. We believe that we need to preserve our republic. And I believe it is necessary to grow our numbers if we want to preserve our republic. So it is, yes, and it is a constitutional republic, not a democracy. Thank you. We want to preserve this republic. It's very important that we do so, again, to prevent the atrocities that have been seen throughout the history of mankind. We could go into them, and I'm not going to detail all of them now. But guns are a small piece of that. Are a small piece of what Utah Gun Exchange is involved with. Preserving our republic is important. It is important that we show good reason for people who are watching this from the outside that it is okay to join this community so that we can grow our numbers. If we continue to grow our numbers, we will preserve this republic. And I hope that you'll join in that fight to preserve our rights. Coming back to some of the additional things that we can do to help keep our schools safe. A lot of people are saying, well, we don't want guns in the classroom. Even if somebody doesn't put a gun in the classroom, it is very possible to train faculties and teachers on ways to be able to defend themselves. Self-defense is a mindset. That's where it starts. The ability to defend oneself starts with a mindset, and everything that they utilize to defend themselves is simply a tool. So whether or not the tools of firearms are in the classroom or not, there are a number of things that teachers can learn through proper training to be able to defend themselves, to stop something if it were happening. And these are not SWAT team type tactics. These are very basic maneuvers that anyone can learn. They can meet force on force, but beyond that, there's things we can do to prevent these tragedies, these atrocities. And I'm hoping that we can talk about a number of them today. So those are some of the things that I'm hoping that we can talk about in the future, and I'm sure that I've left a lot out. I scribbled some notes trying to be brief, and it's been a long day. I don't know if you guys have all seen all the dialogue and the back and forth on these events going on. There's been a lot of cancellations, and our team has been working virtually around the clock to be able to do what we need to do to be able to have a presence here. Anyway, I'm grateful that the March for Our Lives group has invited us to their event, and they seem, or at least the organizer of the Salt Lake City event, seems to be willing to work together in ways we can work together while setting the ways that we know we disagree aside, and that is the goal here. Anyway, those are a few of my thoughts. I appreciate you all coming out. Again, it's really good to see all the friendly faces, whether I know you or not. I also want to mention something else, and that is we've got another group over here that believes strongly in the First Amendment. I don't know if they want me to mention their names, but their business is gunstreamer.com. Gunstreamer.com is comprised of patriots who also want to preserve the First Amendment, and they want to utilize the preservation of the First Amendment to preserve our republic, so I want to acknowledge that. Anyway, thanks to Vice News for coming out to cover this. We appreciate that, and we hope to see good journalistic integrity. I've heard by many people that I've interacted with how important it is to receive fair and balanced coverage, so that journalists just simply report the facts. It used to be said that, we report, you decide. I'm hoping that will be something that we get back to, as we hopefully can create a road to more civil discourse, more sensible dialogue, where people in the media don't seek to focus on division, but instead simply report things as they are and allow the people the freedom of choice to decide for themselves.